How do, everybody? Today we're going to take the seat out of this thing and peel the carpet out. I think I'm probably going to go with like a vinyl floor mat kind of thing instead of carpet, because it's just so hard to keep clean, especially being out here on the ranch. Anyway, so we'll pull the seat out, pull the seat belts, pull the shifter boot, whatever else is necessary, the sill plates, all that good happy crap, just to get the carpet out. And we'll see what kind of padding it has underneath of it, and probably before we put it back together, we'll put some sound dampening in it and some jute padding or something just to help keep the road noise down. Here we go. The farmer in.
Liddell.
The farmer in.
Liddell.
Hi-ho, da dirty do, the farmer in.
Liddell.
As we were going through some of our previously recorded things to edit a new video, I realized we had totally skipped the section where we tore out the seat, the carpet, and all the other things. So we're a little bit out of order here, but we're gonna throw it back in just so that you can see it. No, not really. We just moved the video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go. I might dye these black because the carpet or the vinyl is going to be black, but all right, now we can see what we're really looking at. All these little bumps and ridges and stuff like that, this one I don't worry about. But probably gonna try and fill those in with a layer or so of the dampening stuff, the sound deadener, just so that the vinyl floor doesn't get all the little ripples in it. But yeah, we'll get all that cleaned up, make it to where it's a little flatter, and then we'll throw the vinyl flooring in. Once it shows up, we've got to get that ordered. How do, guys? We're back on the little D50. We're gonna try and make some seat brackets today. I've done a little bit of preliminary stuff trying to get things fitted out. I ordered a couple of suspension seats offline, and you know, obviously they're not going to just bolt right up. So we're going to have to make some brackets that come across here, one across the back, one across the front. As you saw in previous videos, this thing had a bench seat in it. I kind of like the individual buckets better, in the sense of, like, if you're on a side hill or something like that, which this will end up on, you're not going to just slide across the seat. So to get the other one reupholstered, it was going to cost more money than I could get two individual buckets for, and they're a little more comfortable in my opinion anyway. So we went with the buckets. But we're going to use the stock locations. There's a bolt here and here. This floor was set up to where you could run buckets in it anyway, but I'm not going to go to the trouble of trying to find stock ones. I'd end up spending way too much money on those, but we're going to use the 4 mount points that were factory, and then make our own custom brackets that would then go to the slider rails to go onto our buckets. So here we go. Okay, so our hole centers are like 16 inches, so we're going to go 18 inches for our rear bracket. I think that'll work out pretty good. We'll be an inch past the hole center. We're just going to cut them up on a taper, and that way we can still get to our bolts. Meet you out there. All right, we're going to be using some 2x1. We'll mark it off 18 inches and start cutting. Always good to come back and clean up these edges with a file or sandpaper or anything, just so that you don't end up cutting your finger on them. We'll get them all sanded down and painted up, but this will definitely help get some of the burrs off. So now I just gotta, I'll put a square right here that'll sit right there that's 1/4 of an inch thick, and we'll just weld it on the 4 sides so it stays with it. Alright, after some figuring and some sketching and a little bit of arts and crafts, I think we've got a general idea of what we're going to do for the front half. So we've got to come back and over and around and back and all this kind of happy crap so that we can put one at an angle. It'll make more sense when we get in there. Seemed like I was being really nitpicky, but when you come into these corners right here, try and get it where the light is decent, but anyway, if you bring that cut in and another one in this way, and if you just let them kind of overlap, or there's a big chunk right there, that's a stress point and it'll tear out. So what I was trying to do is grind that smooth. I mean, it's still a grinder, so it's not going to be dead smooth, but I'll dress it up with a file or whatever so there's no burrs. Anyway, that way it doesn't just crack out. So that's why I was being a little OCD on that one. Okay, sorry if it sounds like there's a bunch of static in the background. It's actually starting to rain and we got a tin roof up above us here. So we got this I got this all trimmed out, and all my arts and crafts, I think, will work. Here's hoping anyway. Anyhow, so I'm not sure how well you guys can see this, but I'm doing it off of a tripod. So this comes down and comes over, so I'm going to have this sitting on here, and then I've got a little, stanchion that I'm going to have to build, and then we're going to build another bracket off the front. I'll move the camera here in a minute, and it'll make a little bit more sense still. Okay guys, battery went dead, so you missed some of the action, but anyway, we got, I'm not sure when it died. Anyhow, I got this seat bracket kind of welded up. I've got a tab in the front here and another tab right there, and then once we get it welded off, then the whole thing will just be able to come straight up, once we pull the bolts out. But yeah, anyway, we're going to tack these in and then probably pull it out to weld it. That way we're not burning the floor and stuff like that. But anyway, here we go. I'm going to weld this one on the bottom too, because the top's sticking up a little bit. We'll grind that down flat. But it'll be welded on both sides, so we should be pretty good. So now we get to put everything back together. Now comes the fun part. Come on. Takes a special skill to open a Ziploc bag. Good grief. I'm trying to make sure that I get my rails. I guess I can just dump it over. I don't want one further forward than the other. So what we're dealing with is 13.5 sideways. So let's see, that's 6.5, 6.25 either direction. Sorry, 6.75 in either direction. And that should give us our 13.5 width. Over from this one. Stay hydrated. All right, so now we're 12.5 inches this way. I kind of want it as further forward as I can. Alright, so if I go 1/2 inch back, I know you can't see this, but I gotta talk my way through it. I'm drilling through this and the little stanchion thingy that's made out of sheet metal, because that's a hollow piece, the sheet metal one. So then I'll drill it out bigger, that way my bolt can go down through it. Okay. This side's the one that needed to be a little bit taller. We put that 1/4 inch underneath of there, but moving on. Okay, so here's the plan. I've got my bolts sticking through the bottom of the sliders. I've got nuts put them on them, and then I'm hoping that if we did our calculations right, these will go into those holes. If they do, these nuts should be sitting down on there, and I'm just going to put a little tack on each one of them, because they're not going to be these are not, they're like this, they're not flat, so everything's going to be cocked on a little bit of an angle. So I'm hoping I can put a tack on there enough to where they'll hold their position. I don't want to weld on next to the brand new seat, but we'll see how this goes. All right, we're gonna have to open the holes up a little bit more. Oof. I like it. All right, so now I'm gonna take this bracket bolt out all the way, put a washer under it, but I better do that before I tack it. As you can see, we got the seat set in here. I've got spots all over my glasses. What I got? It's raining out again. Anyway, today's not a good day for batteries. My goodness. At some point, both of them have died. I think I shut one off when I thought it was on, and on when I thought it was off. Anyway, we're having fun. So I've got the bolts and the nuts and all that kind of stuff sitting in here. No more rock. Everything is set in solid. It's all bolted down tight, but the seat's just sitting through the holes. I got to go through and put a couple of tacks on each one of these nuts, and then I can take the whole thing apart, weld it up solid, paint it, and then recheck it one more time before we start putting in sound deadener, and then I've got some padding to go in between each one of these ribs, make the floor flat, and then we're going to put in the rubber floor mat. Anyway, so right now I'm going to put some cardboard in here, and then we'll tack those nuts in. And I was going to use a blanket, but I don't know if you guys have watched them. You should really check out their channel, but FabRats, they set their seat on fire. I think it was actually really the blanket, and then it just singed the seat. I'm going to try not to do that again, but go check them out. They're pretty good. If I can figure out how to do it, I'll put a link somewhere. Anyway, we'll get this grounded, and then see if we can't tack it together. If I can figure out what I can get on there. Sheesh. Yeah, maybe we'll do it from the front. Hey, look at that. Push trigger. all the way forward is a little bit hard to get in. Woohoo! All right, now we just got to take our little Allen bolts out, and then we can get those nuts welded on real good. I'm kind of hoping that, oh, yeah, that's good. All right, I could put this in fast motion, or I could just turn it off for a minute. It's just going to be a whole lot of this right here, so we'll see in just a minute. Well, we got the seat brackets all built, getting the last set painted. Time to vacuum this thing out for like the 15th or 20th time. Here we go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is putting this sound deadener on there. I'm going to cut little strips to go in between all the ribs to try and kind of flatten them out just a little bit, and I'm hoping scissors will do it. We'll see. Things I ordered came with this roller that helps get it stuck to the floor, and then it also came with a bunch of little rub tools, like to help, you know, get into edges and also take off different upholstery.
What you doing?
I'm doing arts and crafts. Oh, you can't really see from over there, but I'm filling in like all the little divots and such.
The little divots?
Yeah, if you... Here, I don't know what... You're moving slow so not to make big... Yeah, no blurriness. Anyway, so what do you think?
Arts and crafts.
Great. Yeah, and I'm making messes on the ground. So yeah, trying to fill in the bumps, because I have some jute padding that's going to go on this, but I just figured if I can keep from wearing out the corners and like down here where your heel is and stuff. So yeah. Go team. It's kind of a whole lot of the same thing, so I could put it on time lapse, or we'll just give you like a little montage of bits and pieces along the way, as long as I remember to take the pictures. Well, before this thing gets any longer, we'll just wrap it up right here, but you'll have to come back to the next video to see how it all turns out. Thanks for watching.